All right, so today we're going to read out of the book of Jasher. All right, and this story is Esau and Jacob going to war. So the vengeance of Esau, his retaliation, and his mark for being the firstborn child and in getting the inheritance of the land and the blessing that was given to Jacob, right? So his hatred fueled to his children who always wanted the portion, okay? So this is Jasher 56. Jacob has passed away. This is the point where the Israelites, um, they were living in Egypt at the time. When the brothers sold Joseph into Egypt, he became king right under Pharaoh, right? And um, he let his family come in Egypt, and they grew in Egypt, right? And they had respect around from the other Canaanite people who were around and loved Joseph and the Pharaoh and the Egyptians. They had gained allies and had friendships around, okay, its borders, okay, and people who would come and trade and, you know, kings who would purchase and make trades because it was a famine in that time, and Egypt had the corn and things of that nature. All right, so this is Jasher 56. We're going to start at 43. And all the kings of Canaan heard of this thing, and they all went forth, each man from his house, 31 kings of Canaan, and they all came with their men to mourn and weep over Jacob. Okay, so that was a lot of kings, the Canaanitish kings, okay, who came and mourned over Jacob. And all these kings beheld Jacob's bear, and behold, Joseph's crown was upon it. And they also put their crowns upon the bear and encircled it with crowns. Okay, so they were showing their respects unto Jacob, right? Um, Joseph being, king right under Pharaoh, as I said before. And all these kings made in that place a great heavy mourning with the sons of Jacob and Egypt over Jacob. For all the kings of Canaan knew the valor of Jacob and his sons, okay? And the report reached Esau, saying, Jacob died in Egypt, and his sons and all the Egypt are conveying him to the land of Canaan to bury him. Okay? So the word had reached to Esau that they were going to bury Jacob back in the land that Abraham had purchased um, in Hebron as a burying site to bury him, his wife, and his generations after, right? So this is where they were taking Jacob um, to bury Jacob, okay? And Esau heard this thing, and he was dwelling in Mount Seir. And he rose up with his sons and all his people and all his household, and people exceedingly great. And they came to mourn and weep over Jacob. And it came to pass when Esau came, he mourned for his brother Jacob, and all Egypt and all Canaan again rose up and mourned a great mourning with Esau over Jacob in that place. Okay, so Esau came and mourned for his brother Jacob with all his people in his household. Okay, and Esau, he had a strong nation. All right, and Joseph and his brethren brought their father Jacob from that place, and they went to Hebron to bury Jacob in the cave by his fathers. And they came unto Karibaba to the cave, and as they came, Esau stood with his sons against Joseph and his brethren as a hindrance in the cave. Okay, so Esau came up against Jacob. The Edomites came up against the Israelites not trying to allow them to bury the father, Jacob, right? Which is Esau's brother, right? Saying, Jacob shall not be buried therein, for it belonged to us and our father. Okay? So they saying that it belonged to them and Esau, right? And Joseph and his brother heard the words of Esau's son, and they were exceedingly wroth. And Joseph approached Esau, saying, what is this thing which they have spoken? Surely my father Jacob brought it from thee for great riches after the death of Isaac. Now, 5 and 20 years ago, and also all the land of Canaan he brought from thee and from thy sons and thy seed after thee. And Jacob brought it for his sons and his seeds after him for an inheritance forever. Okay? So he said that it was Jacob's, and the land of Canaan, right? Was Jacob's for his seed forever, right? And why speakest thou these things this day? And Esau answered, saying, thou speakest falsely and utterest lies. For I sold not anything belonging to me in all this land, as thou sayest, neither did my brother Jacob buy aught belonging to me in this land. Okay? So they're trying to say that it was theirs, it was never sold, right? But we know that it was sold, right? For the pottage, right? That's what it was sold for. And Esau spoke these things in order to deceive Joseph with his words. For Esau knew that Joseph was not present in those days when Esau sold all belonging to him in the land of Canaan to Jacob. As Joseph said unto Esau, surely my father inserted these things with thee in record of purchase, and testified the record with eyewitnesses, with witnesses. And behold, it is with us in Egypt. Okay? So Joseph had the proof, but they left it in Egypt, right? So they didn't know this was going to come to pass. Obviously, they would have been prepared, right? And Esau answered, saying unto him, bring the record, all that thou wilt find in the record, so will we do. And Joseph called Naphtali his brother, and he said, hasten quickly, stay not, and run, I pray thee, to Egypt, and bring all the records, the record of purchase, the sealed record, and the open record, and also all the first records in which all the transactions of the birthright are written. Fetch thou. Okay? So he sent Naphtali, which is the fastest runner out of all the brothers, right? Out of all the Israelites. Sent them back to Egypt to go fetch the records, right? To bring forth to Esau as proof, right? In front of everybody to show that the Israelites truly owns that place. And thou shalt bring them unto us hither, that we may know from them all the words of Esau and his sons which they spoke this day. And Naphtali hearkened to the voice of Joseph, and he hasted and ran to go down to Egypt. And Naphtali was lighter on foot than any of the stage that were upon the wilderness, for he would go upon ears of corn without crushing them. Okay, so he was light on his feet. He was quick on his feet, right? And when Esau saw that Naphtali had gone to fetch the records, he and his sons increased their resistance against the cave. And Esau and all his people rose up against Joseph and his brethren to battle. Okay? So then that made Esau angry when Naphtali hearkened and went to go fetch the record, okay? And then so they rose up against the Israelites, right? And all the sons of Jacob and the people of Egypt fought with Esau and his men. And the sons of Esau and his people were smitten before the sons of Jacob. And the sons of Jacob slew Esau's people, 40 men. Okay? So the Egyptians fought with the Israelites. They came, to the burial place together and fought off the brother together, right? Slew 40 men, right? And Chishim, the son of Dan, the son of Jacob, was at that time with Jacob's sons, but he was about 100 cubits distance from the place of battle, for he remained with the children of Jacob's sons by Jacob's bear to guard it. And Chisholm was dumb and deaf. Still, he understood the voice of consternation amongst men. And he asked, saying, Why do you not bury the dead? And what is this great consternation? And they answered him the words of Esau and his sons. And he ran to Esau in the midst of the battle, and he slew Esau with a sword, and he cut off his head, and it sprang to a distance, and Esau fell amongst the people of the battle. And when Chishim did this thing, the sons of Jacob prevailed over the sons of Esau, and the sons of Jacob buried their father Jacob by force in the cave, and the sons of Esau beheld it. Okay, so the son of Dan, Chesim, was deaf, and he was guarding the kids at the time and the body at the time, right? So nothing will get damaged. Okay, and as he found out what was going on because he was deaf, and he inquired what happened, and when he found out, he rushed over to Esau and slayed him. Okay, and beheaded him. All right, that helped Jacob prevail over the sons of Esau, right? And Jacob was buried in Hebron, in the cave of Machpelah, which Abraham had brought from the sons of Heth for the possession of a burial place, and he was buried in very costly garments. Okay, he was buried in very costly garments. Okay, and no king had such honor paid him as Joseph paid unto his father at his death, for he buried him with great honor, like unto the burial of kings. And Joseph and his brother made a mourning of 7 days for their father. Okay, so that was the story of Jacob's death and the battle between the Israelites and the Edomites. Okay, over the land, which is the blessing that was received by Jacob. All right, JTV, holla back.